Hello and welcome. This is one of my 60 inspirational conversations. And today I have got the delight and pleasure to have the lovely Tera. Is that how you say it? Tera with me. As you can probably tell, Tera isn't someone I know terribly well, but I love what she's up to. Tera, we had a conversation. She actually interviewed me. I loved what we shared. I loved, the little bit that we caught up. I thought, oh wow, yeah, this is interesting. So let's dive a little bit more deeply into. I wanted to get to know you a little bit better, so I invited you here. So do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, and let's see where this goes.
Sure. Yeah. So my name is Tera Brown. I actually live in Utah in the US and in the heart of the Rocky Mountains. And it's funny when I travel places, I'm like, how do you know where you are? Because I can always tell where I am, where east is, because of the mountains are right there and they're so big and they're just so prominent in my life. And so I love that. I'm a mom of four amazing adults, and my youngest just turned 18 in November. So he's an adult, and he
Sort
reminds me
of, almost. Still
the
your
baby.
baby, I'm sure.
Yes. And my husband and I will celebrate 30 years on Saturday.
Oh,
So we've been together,
cool.
we've known each other almost 40 years. We met in high school and everyone says,
Oh,
"Oh,
that's
that's
so
such a nice story."
cute.
And I'm like, "Yeah, it actually isn't that kind of story, but we did each other." We were friends, yeah. So I'm a coach, and we can talk about all of that if you want. I've been coaching about 11 years, and I love what I do, and I started loving it so much that I teach coaches how to master their skills so that they can be really excellent at it instead of just knowing something and wanting to share that one thing out there with everybody they know. So, yeah.
Cool. Okay, so tell me, do you have a specific thing that you coach people? Are you a specific coach, or I mean, you said that you coach people, coaches now, but
I do.
yeah, what what
Yeah.
what are you passionate about in that?
So I'm actually passionate about trauma and trauma recovery. So I'm a
Okay.
trauma-informed coach, and that came about as part of my personal healing. So let's start with that. So I'll tell you that I graduated from college with a degree in fashion design, and
Oh,
I made custom wedding dresses for all kinds of people, movie stars, sports, people, and regular people. And I did that for 30 years. And I just like one day I was like, I'm done. I'm finished. Like I feel complete. And and it was in that process that I had been moving over to my husband and I had gone through some hard things, some disclosures, some rockiness in our relationship, and some real disconnection. And it led me to therapy and a lot of it, and which was awesome. I loved that investment in myself, and what a gift that was for me too, for us, and for my kids. I used to tell my kids all the time, I do hard things so that I know how I expect to be treated when I'm older, or what or how to do things, like I want to lead out and show you what it looks like to take a hard look in the mirror and really be you know, um, honest and fearless with your own life. And so in the process of that, I had people in my group therapy class who were always asking me questions. Instead of going to the therapist, they would call me and ask me questions. And I just developed this love of helping and serving. And so a lot of my training and client base has been in trauma recovery. And it's funny when I talk to people, sometimes they're like, "Oh, I don't have any trauma in my life," and I'm like, "Really? Okay." I mean, I think that we all have experiences that
Mm,
create wounds, and we create a survivor strategy to either avoid that or deal with it or push it under the rug, right? Whatever that looks like. And so I'm just really big on helping you to see those strategies and how to bring it back around so that you can live in your healthy self instead of just surviving.
yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. In there when you would. Oh, so the first thing, guess what I did for many years? I made wedding dresses for people. That was in a former life. That's what I did. So there are loads of people on this probably watching who will not. Yeah, I was a seamstress. That was my job for many years, and so I totally feel you on that one. And interestingly, I reached the same. I used to teach sewing as well, and I just reached a point where, yeah, this is done. And
Yeah.
people now still to this day say, oh my gosh, you have such a skill, it's such a shame that you don't do that. And obviously sometimes I look at things and I'm like, oh yeah, you could make that like that and you could do that. It's in you. But yeah, it is interesting. I had the same experience. This is
Yeah.
done. So oh yeah, that was fascinating when you said that. I was like, oh cool. But yeah, when you said about I think like life itself, we all have things that we, you don't get to. I mean, I don't even think you get to 20 these days without sort of
Right.
having some kind of something happening. And like you
Right.
say, we find ways of dealing with these things. And then I guess it is sometimes we manage to find healthy ways to deal with these things and we see through them. But other times not so much. And I
Right.
definitely think one of the hardest things for people is to take an honest look at their life. I
Yeah.
know when I got to that point and it was like, right, life doesn't lie. Look at what's not going right in your life. And it's like, no, no, no,
Mhm.
I'm doing it all right. I'm doing it all right. I'm doing it. Yeah, but all of this is going, no, 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 it's not me. It's
Must
like,
be someone else, right? Must be them.
yeah. But
His fault.
actually, yeah, but being honest with yourself. And I loved when you said, because I know for me, a lot of what I do and a lot of what makes sense to me is because it's the biggest gift I can give to my kids to sort of say, actually, no matter what you have been through, there is a way to deal with this in a healthy way. There is no, in my opinion, and it'd be interesting to see if you feel the same, there is no trauma that can completely overtake us, and we can't, if we find our own way to deal with that in a healthy way and bring that out, we can be healthy, happy adults.
Right.
But if we don't do that, if we can't be honest with ourselves, so I think it's a great legacy to give your kids, looking at yourself honestly and showing them, yeah, we went through this terrible thing happened, or this whatever, and it's like,
Right.
but this,
Here we are standing. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Mm.
thriving. Yeah,
So,
I
so
do.
would
I
you
love
agree?
that. It's a gift. It's
Yeah,
a gift to give
it,
them.
it really is a gift, I think, to do that for yourself. You don't only do it for yourself.
Right. Yeah. So I have 3 boys and one daughter. And so I'm always like, what can I, teach them? What can I show and model for them so that yeah, they can live the best. We always want what's best, where we want them to be better than us, right?
Yeah, we don't want them to go through what we went through
I
or make the
know.
mistakes we made.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I love to talk about we start off with our healthy self, right? When we're born, we're like the best version, like the most pure version, right? And then we get these wounds, and then we spend all this time until we're aware of it,
mm,
like I say, creating a survivor strategy. And so my biggest one is manager. So I'm going to manage how you feel about me. I'm going to try and manage the things that you say about me or how you react, right? And I'm always like reading the room because I need to know what to expect or how to react or what to do, what my next move should be. And so I'm always on guard and watching, and that's my survivor strategy, right? And if I stay in that, it's exhausting. It's really is like, I got to maybe like 40 years old and I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I can't manage all of you around. And I actually, like, control is an illusion. So I think I'm in control, but I'm actually not at all. And so nowadays I'll just say to my husband, okay, my manager's online right now, and this is what I want to say, and this is how I want to say it. Um, but I know that's not healthy. And so instead, I'm going to choose to do this. And so we have to back off and say, okay, what boundaries do I need? What would my healthy self do? How could I show up in a better, more honest version of myself instead of trying to manage how you feel about me? Yeah.
yeah, It's really, really exhausting trying to I mean, my backstory was I was in a very abusive relationship, and you know, the people pleaser, when I was such a people pleaser, and for the same reasons. Basically, it is like I need everybody to like me. I mean, that's how I got into the situation I got into. It's like everybody has to like me. And fundamentally, there's something wrong with me. So nobody's going to like me. So who do I have to be so that you will like me? And so from that perspective, it's kind of like, okay, what do you need me? There would be none of me there. It would be, okay, who do you need me to be so that you will like me?
I love to call that chameleon energy, because I'm like going to read the room and then I'm going to turn myself into what you need instead. And then I still have lost myself, because I'm not showing up as me. I'm showing up as who I think you want me to be. And I haven't asked you what you want me to be. I'm just assuming it all,
Totally
right?
guessing, yeah.
Making it up.
Yep.
And then you get to be 40 years old. Well, I really think that's what midlife crisis is. It's like this whole, like, I literally have no idea who I am. And so I need to go and break everything down to find me underneath all of this chameleon skin.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I was just I was speaking to a lady, a client earlier, and we were really talking about how as women particularly we get to, you know, an age when our children are maybe growing up a little bit and things like that, and perhaps that whole, because I know there's a period of time there, like I've got 3 kids, and there's a period of time there where you haven't got any time to be anything but mom. You know, it's the school run and the football run and the brownie run and the whatever it is, you know, there isn't really time. And so the coping mechanisms can seem as if they're working because there just isn't any time. You literally fall into bed at night and sleep, get up in the morning and you go, and so there isn't really the time. And then we come to this time in our lives, I guess, as our children start getting older and maybe being more self-sufficient or leaving home or whatever it is. And I really, really do think that this period of women finding themselves, I just think we bring something so valuable to the table if we do that work, like you were talking about. It is work. I can see, you know, to get from who I was to who I am now, that was work. There was a lot. There was some scary things that I had to face up to in myself and my world and things. But now I can see I absolutely love my life. And I can really, I'm really noticing, you know, with connecting with women like you and my clients and things, seeing the value that we bring to the table when, you know, at this point, when you've worked that out and you can see those things, whatever words or however it is we describe them, but those, you know, like the chameleon energy or whatever it is, we can see, oh yeah, that there's something much more there. So do you see that in your clients and the people that you...
Yeah, for sure. You know, you make me think of when I was a young mom and we would be in the church kitchen doing whatever, and I would corner this one woman in our congregation and I would just drill her with questions. She was older. She was probably like, she was older than me, you know, so she was probably like 55 or 60 years old. And I would just be like, what did you do about this? And how did you get your kids to do their chores? And what, like every time I was with her, I was just like peppering her with questions, but I was like hungry for that knowledge, because she had been there and that she had been through that. And so, yeah, it created this craving in me to ask her, like, and to know what it felt like to be on that side of toddlerhood, or, you know, and she gave me such great advice. But I think that that's something I've learned with coaches, especially teaching coaches, is you can actually only help someone heal to the place where you are, to the place where you've got, because you're on this path and you know what it feels like in your body, you know what it looks like to be on this side of that healing, right? And so you can help guide someone there, but you can't actually guide someone past there. Because you don't know what it looks like or feels like. And so I'm always encouraging people to do their own work, to keep going on their own, like, you know, it's not like we arrived, you know. My mom was here the other day and she triggered me really badly, and I didn't really understand what it was at first, but she kept saying, how do you fix this? Well, how do you fix this? Well, my cousin, she's like, Nancy, da da da, and like, how do you fix that? And I was like, I I I'm not sure you can fix it all. Like, I don't know that there's a, like, she wanted it to be all done and over. And I was like, Mom, it doesn't work like that. And finally, my husband actually helped her to figure out, because I was like too far gone. I was like, I need to be out of this conversation. So he was talking to her, and it was this place where she was like, oh, I thought Tara had that all fixed. I thought she was over and done and had done her work and she was great now, you know? And I'm like, yes, yes, and there's still more work to do. And I can help you to this point, but I don't know what it looks like to go to there, if that makes sense. And I just, I don't, it triggered me so much because she just kept asking and I didn't know what she was asking. And so as soon as I figured out what the question was, then I could see it better for, oh, she thought I was like, I had arrived. Like, I'll let you know when I get there.
I just think as human beings, because I mean, what I see in us is there isn't a place that we will arrive, because it's like we can continue however good we get. Like I when I think where I am now, I am past anywhere my mom ever got to. You know, my mom never got to the sorted that I am at this point. And I can still see there's miles to go. It's just literally like life can continue to get richer and better and more connected. There isn't a point where, I think if we're alive and we're interested and we're looking in this direction, I just don't, there isn't a place that we get to and it's like, I'm done. I think the whole done thing happens and then you die. That's certainly what it looks like to me now. It's kind of like, oh,
Or
you're
maybe the
done.
other way around, maybe you die and then you're done.
Yeah, maybe. But it's kind of,
I think that was a false message that I was sending to her, that I was, you know, that I was done with it. And so, and it was just a good realization for me to remember, because sometimes as coaches, we do that too. Like, oh, yeah, I did my work in the past and now I'm, you know, now I'm going to help you do yours. And I'm like, yeah, but if I don't continue to do mine, then I'll be here forever, right? I won't, yeah.
It's definitely an ongoing journey.
Sure, yeah. Something else that you said about picking up the pieces, I wanted to share a little bit about. There's a story and there's a book called Women Who Run with Wolves.
I've not read that, but I've seen that.
It's so good. It's a collection of short stories, and one of the stories is La Loba. So it's the story of a woman who wanders the desert to find the pieces of herself that she lost along the way. And as she does it, she gathers the pieces of this wolf. And when she puts them all together at the end, then the wolf comes back alive and all of the fur comes back and it runs away happily into the desert. And I love that, like the idea of that so much, of wandering and finding ourselves again, that I actually created a retreat around that story, that to help women who've experienced trauma, because like we said before, that's what we do, is we drop pieces of ourselves in order to make someone else happy, or in order to fit in here, or in order to look a certain way. We give up parts of ourselves, and we get to, part of our work is to wander the desert of our souls and look for those pieces of ourselves that we lost and reconnect with them so that we can become our whole beautiful self again. And then we're off and running.
I love that. I love that. And yeah, it's so true, isn't it? That and I know lots of times when I speak to people, it's like, I don't know. I work a fair amount with women who've been in abusive relationships, and then we get to, and I think it can be true, as I said, with women after we've had our children or whatever it is, we come to this point and it's like, well, who am I? Who the hell am I? You know, I've just been mom, or I've just, whatever it is, we've lost ourselves in that space. And you know, the times when people say, I don't know what it is I want, I don't know what I like, I don't know what it is that I want. And I know from, again, when you were saying about your own experience, I know from my own experience that the pieces are there because I've recently bought a plot of land and I'm building a house, and I hadn't realized. Now it looks so obvious to me. I've always wanted to do that, but I didn't know that, you know, I'd lost that and I hadn't even noticed. And when we actually bought the plot of land, quite a few of my friends who've known me, you know, they've been saying, oh my gosh, you know, you were talking about this 10 years ago. And I was like, was I? You know, I hadn't even seen that has been something that has been alive in me, something I've wanted to do
Yeah.
forever, basically. And once I saw it, I thought, yeah, I can remember wanting to do that as a child. You know, I can remember playing with the grass when my mum and dad cut the grass and making little grass houses and thinking one day I'm going to build myself a house. And it's like, oh my gosh, this has been there forever. And I think that I think we have ideas and desires and preferences that when we find those within ourselves, exactly what like you were talking about, when we uncover those or find, they're always there, and new ones come in, I guess. But it's like they're gifts. And when we are prepared to shine the light on them and move towards them and bring them to life in form in the world, I think that is such a beautiful thing to bring to the world. And
I
I
do too.
definitely like the trauma. So the work that you're doing, you know, to get people. I mean, my business is called Dare to Be You, and it's because we're scared of being ourselves. We're scared of the ideas and the desires and the things we want. Or certainly that was my experience.
Yeah, I think that's true. And I think that that's a learned thing, right? That's part
Yeah.
of our wound and our survivor strategy is to avoid or pretend like that's not important to us, or, you know, like it's just not going to work because of all of these reasons. And so it's not fair for me to dream that because it's not going to happen. And so I'll just give up on that. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sad, isn't it?
Oh,
When you say it out loud, you're like, wait a second. That
yeah.
doesn't sound like a healthy response.
No,
Yeah.
it's definitely. I'm there's a conference. Well, it's not a conference, it's an event that happens in Spain. It's been going on for quite a few years, and this year it's in November in Spain near to me. And this year I'm actually speaking at that event. I'm really pleased about that. And another thing for me, I have known since being a young child that I want to be on the stage. It's like that's who I am. That's what I want to do. And I know one of the things that happened to me, I mean, my mom loved me and you know, she was very good to me, but that would have been that speaking on a stage would be my mom's worst nightmare. And
Yeah.
so she absolutely does not want me to do that because she doesn't want to do it. And so out of love, you know, it's not even from a bad place. It's just like, no,
Right.
this is a terrible thing. You will hate it. And so I got this idea from a very young age that there's something fundamentally wrong with the things that I want to do. And then I came into the community. I'm part of the three principles. I don't know whether you've heard of the three principles, but anyway, I'm a part of the three principles. And this event is a three principles event. And I really wanted to speak at these types of events. You know, I love this. I love
Yeah.
doing what we're doing here. I love speaking. But for so many years, I pretended I didn't. I pretended it's not what I wanted to do. I pretended, you know, and other people would maybe talk about their trauma in you know, the things that you're talking about, and they would be like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do this and I have to speak. And I think, you've got to not want to do it. You've
Yeah.
got to not want to do it. It's like, and for so long, I really thought that it was wrong somehow to want to speak in this way, to want to be heard, to want to be out there like this. And even now, kind of talking like this with you, there's definitely something in me that's going, you know, this whole owning that I love to do this. And it's definitely a kind of a little bit of a new thing for me to sort of say, actually, do you know what? That is absolutely what I want to do, what I love to do. So it
Yeah.
is, and you can see, I can see, like when you were talking about how we can help other people, I can see how damaging that was to me for many years, to refuse to allow myself to pretend that that's,
Mhm.
you know, oh no, I'm not interested. I'm not bothered. I'm not bothered if people don't ask me. I'm not bothered about that.
Yeah, the tricky part is that your brain doesn't hear the not. So you're telling yourself you are bothered, and you keep finding all of the evidence that you are bothered. And that's why it keeps pricking at you. And every time you say, no, I don't want to do that. But it's like, but inside you're like, but I actually do. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of like, we wound ourselves in that. We convince ourselves that we actually don't want to.
Mm.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you can see again how I think we are the hardest on ourselves.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. And it comes with all the layers of all the things of trying to make everyone else happy. But then it's easiest to disappoint ourselves. And so we just kind of go with that because it's easier than dealing with the ramifications of disappointing someone else, right?
Mm.
But really, no. But
No.
really, no. But we tell ourselves it is, right?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so the coming out, the other side of it, coming out and just seeing, actually, do you know what are your desires? What is it that you want? Who are you? And finding that out, it's really fun and exciting, isn't it?
Oh yeah, one of the best gifts my therapist ever gave me was every week she had us check in with what she called novelty. What's your novelty for this week? And she asked us to just be on an adventure, to try all the things, to see what we liked, to try it out, and be open to the possibility that we could discover in
Mm.
an adventure ourselves. And so we had to check in every week with something we tried that was new. And there were plenty of things I found that I did not like, but I was not a disappointment, and I didn't fail because then it was actually exciting every time I found something I didn't like, because
Mm.
then it's like, oh yay, now I don't need to buy a pottery wheel, right? Like it was just like, now I know that that's not for me. And in the process I found some really amazing things that I do love and that like fill my soul that I had no idea. So yeah,
Mm.
gift.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's lovely, isn't it, to find out, and you have to. There definitely is. I know with the work that we do, there definitely is some doing in that. There is internal work, absolutely, and then there is doing. Like we have to get out and try things and speak to people and and see what the results
All those
of
easy things.
yeah, what these things are, what the
Yeah.
results of them are.
So that is something else that I love to help clients see. I have this platform that I call PEMS. So it's not PMS, but it's PEMS, and it's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And I think that I've been studying a lot about feng shui lately too. So, and it kind of goes along with the air, the water, the fire, the
Mm.
um, physical. We have to take care of our physical body, like make sure we get enough rest and enough to drink, and like eat healthy things, the live things, right? I always tell my kids, just eat something green today, right? And we have to take care of our emotions, our emotional body. We have to be really conscious. Like I'd say that I'm emotional literacy expert because I love to listen to what the message that your emotion has, but we have to pay attention to them, right? And then we also have to pay attention to our mental body and our thoughts and the process that we go through, and taking care of our stories that we tell ourselves, right? And then our spiritual life too. And when I like to say that when we pay attention to each one of those areas, it's like we're building a chair. Okay. And if we don't pay attention to each one of those four areas, we end up with this chair and we have one fence post. Usually, a lot of times, well, in my community, it's the spiritual leg, right? Like I just pray and I just give it all to God and I do all this work and I practice that. And that's great. That's amazing. We need to, right? But I have a chair with one really strong leg
Mm.
and three spaghetti noodles, right? Like just pasta, and it's not going to hold us up. And so we have to, like, we're invited to pay attention to those other areas of our life. And as we do that and we gain more stability, that's where the feng shui comes, because the wood is in the center, right? Our healthy, grounded self grows out of the middle. We can sit comfortably on that chair because we feel balanced, and we trust ourselves, and we show up for ourselves because we're not over focusing on one of the areas. We're actually spending a little bit of time every day in each one of those areas so that we can be the best version of ourselves.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that, I mean, to me, my work, what a lot of my focus on is on this spiritual side. That's definitely where I have gone very, very deeply. But I also see, for me, it is like, I love being human. And it's kind of like, it doesn't look to me, it I'm here being human, you know. That's what, okay, so I am definitely a spiritual being having a human experience, but that's what I'm here to do. I'm having a human experience. I have got a body, I have got, you know, I'm doing human things. And so to ignore my body or ignore the, you know, my kids or my life, the life that goes on outside, to ignore that,
Right.
yeah, like you say, I think we ignore anything at our peril. I don't think, you know, ignoring it, not the answer. And I can see, for me, definitely, it makes sense to me when I have a problem to take my problem to God. But what it looks like to me is when I do that, then something occurs to me. You know, either something changes. If I do that, something will change on the outside. And if nothing
Right.
changes on the outside, it's like something, a to do will occur to me. It's not like, I mean, in the Bible it says, doesn't it, do be ye doers of the word. And it's like,
Right.
when to, you know, whether the word God, whatever it is, the universe, I don't, doesn't matter to me what that is for you, but the power behind life, whatever it is, like, we're not, we play a part in that, we play a role in that. And absolutely, yeah, we turn to that, we turn to that power, and that is the greatest power. But it is like, that power, we are a conduit of that. And if we don't do, it's like, the Bible is one of the most amazing books about
Yeah.
learning. And like, everywhere throughout the Bible, all of the parables, all of it, it's like, be, do, have. If you can be this person, if you be this,
Mhm.
then you will do this, then you will have this. But it is
Yes.
definitely, and to me, the being is the first part of it. It makes sense. Yeah, who you be this. God asks us to be this
Right.
person. It's like, yeah, step into being that. From that being, do. From that doing, you
Right.
will have. And that,
Yeah.
to me, like, brings in our body, look after our bodies, all of those, you know, like you say, whatever it is, look after those aspects, because that is the doing.
Mhm. Exactly. And that's how, when we become that, we do things because that's who we are,
Yes.
and that's what we become, right? And it becomes such a natural outpouring of who we are if we allow it to be.
Yeah. To
Yeah,
me, that is the aligning back to the deeper truth of who we are.
for sure. Yeah, I love to say, at the core of it, my whole identity is I'm a daughter of God. All of the rest is roles I play or things that I do, like, it's just, but at the very core of my identity, that's the base of it. I'm a disciple of him, and I'm a daughter of God, and he loves me and I love him. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we, that, and I guess, you know, the different people would put different words on that and maybe use different, you know, whatever, and that doesn't matter to me. I would use very similar language to that. God is definitely a word that works for me. But it is just seeing, yeah, if we bring ourselves back to whatever that is for us, come there,
Mhm.
that's who we are. And then
Mhm.
from there, what we go out, and it almost feels to me, you know, what we do from there is we help each other find our way through the trauma. We see, oh my gosh, yeah, you've had this and you're dealing with it in this way, and it's not healthy. The answers come from when we align in that way. It's like, and they are very, very worldly, you know. It's not, it doesn't feel to me like it's a mistake that I'm human. It doesn't feel to me like any of this is a mistake. And
Yeah.
when we come back to however we see it at the core, whatever that version of that is, if we come back and have a really deep knowing of that, that's who we are being, then what we are going to do and what we are going to end up having. And again, like whichever way you look at it, it doesn't, if you haven't, and I'm not saying we can always do better and create better and all of this lot, but if you haven't, if you're not having on the outside what your heart really desires, then it is right. Okay, go back and look here.
Right. Go back clear to the right. Yeah. Yes, for sure. That's why I love to help clients, like go back and just like, let's break it down to who are you really, and what do you want to stand for, and what are your innermost desires, and where does that take you? Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that.
Me too.
Gives you tingles, doesn't it? When you... So one of the ways we connected was through something that you're doing around a collaboration. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about
Yes.
that and
Yeah.
how that works and what that is?
So, okay, so I have several businesses, and one of them is called Shayoli Hope. So it means beautiful hope. And we are on a mission to help coaches and healers to create mastery in their craft. So most coaches and healers learn a process or a like a modality, like, some way to help coaches, and then they think, here I am, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna save the world, right? And most new coaches say, I can help anyone do anything, and they get really broad. But mastery is really this moment where I practice, I have honed my craft, and I have confidence in myself, in this ability to, right, to help people who come to me. And so in that vein, we've created Healers Academy, which is a coaching certification program to help. And it's a year-long mastery program. It's not a 3-day, here you learned a few things and go out and help, right? But what we discovered is we all, I think it's human nature to compete, and because we need to tell ourselves I'm good at something, or I have something to offer, and that's why it's better than this over here, right? And that actually isn't feminine energy at all. Competition, collaboration, like living in the flow and working together and looking at the whole picture and seeing how it can work together, is more feminine energy. And so we came up with this idea to collaborate, to reach out and just with influencers and micro influencers, people who have a message, who just want to get together like this and have a conversation and collaborate and work together to help people to raise their vibration, to live the best version of themselves, right? So instead of my program's better than your program, I'm like, I want to introduce Deborah, because she is awesome, to my people, and let her help them raise their energy too and their vibration. And so I reached out and said, hey, let's just get on and do a video. And we have quite a lot of views on our little video that we did. And in that way we work together instead of always in that competition mode. Because like I said, it's not who I want to be. And it's not people feel that energy, that competition, like I'm better than you, and so you should come over here. And what if it's just, I could learn this piece from you, and I could learn this piece from you, and that would help me to round myself out, and I could be even more whole in that way. And so I love this idea, and we've had such great response to, usually it's like, come on this thing and sell your thing and tell us why it's great and whatever. And really it's just like, let's just talk, let's have a conversation, let's just collaborate together, work together, see what we can create, see it's led to you and I having this amazing conversation, and how can we work together to help those around us and to just show that there's a different way. What
Yeah.
did you love about it?
Well, exactly that. So it is I guess the idea that we have to compete with each other is based in fear. And even if basically what we are doing is the same thing, like, I can hear the similarities in our work. I can hear when you're sort of saying, it's like, yeah, absolutely, those words, I can totally relate to the words that you're using. That sounds beautiful, whatever. Absolutely, that's that's what I'm doing with my clients. It's what you're doing with your clients. But to me, it looks like there are plenty of there's no lack. Like if we are coming from fear and I think, oh, right, I don't want anyone to find out about what Tara does because they'll stop looking at me. They won't
Right.
buy anything. I won't have any clients because all my clients will go to Tara if they see Tara. So then we're in fear. And so then, and like you say, all of the things we've discussed, to me, it comes down to energy. It is, you know, the vibration that we're putting out, the energy we're putting out. And if you are in business and trying to help people and trying to have, you know, have people pay you for that help, which, you know, absolutely, if you've put in the work and all that, I think that is, if someone has got a problem and you have got a solution, they want the solution more than they want the money in their pocket. You know, it's a great idea. It's brilliant. It works in all ways. But if you are rooted in fear, that is what they're going to feel. You know, when they speak to you, that is what people are going to feel. So it's going to be difficult to get clients. So then I'm going to have this, it's obviously it's because of Tera, because they've seen Tera now. So it's, I can't, and it's just, it's so going in the wrong direction. And
Raise your hand if you've ever been there.
yep, totally been there, totally been there. This whole thing, you can only help someone see something you've seen. I can totally see the whole, how much I would be in that whole energy of me about some of the coach or healer or whatever. And it's like, yeah, it's because it's jealousy, it's fear, it's all of these low vibration things that really wreck what it is we're doing.
Right.
And there's a really nice guy called Ankush Jain, who is in the community that I am a part of, and he is a coach, and he gave up a corporate job to become a coach, and he really saw how many, he saw what the coaching industry and this industry that we're talking, the good that could be done, and how this is a real platform for up leveling the consciousness on the planet. You know, it's definitely it's where it's at. But he saw that most coaches are struggling to, you know, pay basic bills. They can't, and because they're in that space, then it's really difficult to deliver a good service when you're in fear or panic or whatever. So he started a coaching school, which was very much in the vein of, right, let's see how we can ethically, with, you know, from a good vibration, from a good, raise the vibration of everyone and all coaches. And not everyone in the coaching school, all the coaches, I haven't been to the school, but I know a lot of the people that have. And it's like, what if they can help each other? We don't go to this school and then have competition. And then obviously you guys came into my I met up with you as well, and it's the same. And I just think that is so where it is at, instead of being in this fear. It's like, I know if I am seen and I am speaking and people see me, the people that resonate with me, it's better if they come to me and I help them. The people that resonate with you, it's better if they go to, you know, I don't want to help people who are supposed to be with you because they're your people. And it's like, there's no lack or limitation here. So it's absolutely, yeah, let as many people as possible see Tara, let as many people as possible see Deborah, and who resonates with you.
Yeah.
Whose energy is a match for you, who is a good, and it can be different at different times as well, can't it? So yeah.
It's funny, my business partner Bronwyn and I are so opposite in so many ways. Like, she has this fiery energy and she's like really animated, and she's like always saying, come on, Tara, like show your emotions. And and then she calls me a warm hug. She says, you're just like this, like just grounded, you know, like it's just like sitting with you is like getting a warm hug. And she said, people need both of us, right? They need us at different times. But even in that, like, we're not competing with each other. We're just like, okay, you go to her for that, you come to me for this, like you go over there and talk to that person. And I think you would be best over there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it feels like, you know, when you were talking, the image that came to me, this is so funny, I don't know why, but you know that 1970s commercial for Coke where they were like, I want to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony. It's like that song, and it kind of spreads throughout the whole, like, let's just be together and sing this one song. And we all look different and we all have different ways of doing it. But we're all, we're all after the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is that, isn't it? Let's be in harmony with this, because
Yeah.
it just makes one big horrible grinding noise when we are against each other, but
Right.
when we are in harmony. And it is really, really nice to kind of, I think there is nothing nicer than to genuinely be able to, if you know someone who's got a problem, to genuinely be able to say, actually, my friend Tara, she's, go to her for this.
Yeah.
And only a few days ago, actually, somebody on Facebook was something happened anyway. I saw something go on, and somebody reached out to me, and I really saw the moment when it was like, well, I do know how I can help this woman. Then it's like, it's just not what you do. That is not what you do. And it is like, with the knowledge that we've accumulated, like we know that we can pretty much help anyone, but it is actually, no, that is not your expertise. That is not where you put your energy. That is not what you do. And it was really lovely to just, I had a friend and I recommended my friend, and I was like, yeah, this person is brilliant at that. Go to that person. And it felt so good. And it's not the first time that I've done that now, but it was another recognition of, I remember a time when it would have just been, I would have said, oh yeah, I can do that. And it's like, but it's not what you like doing. It's not what you do. It's not what your website's set up for. It's not what your business is set up, but this whole idea. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's really
Oh,
nice to just
I
be
love
like,
that.
stay in your lane, do what
It's
you
so
do.
funny. That explains my COVID years perfectly. Like I was in this transition. I don't really want to sew anymore. And my coaching business isn't making enough, like, at that moment to really like, it was still a hobby kind of. And for a lot of purposes it was. And then here I was, all of a sudden my friends were like, what are you doing? And I started a baking business where I did subscription boxes. So every month you got a different thing. And then I started selling sofas, and my friends were like, what is, like, this is not, I know, but I said to them, every time you see me posting something like that, it's just that desperate, like the mortgage is due in a few weeks and I got, right. So, finding that, like, as I take away that competition, it has really, one of the other dreams that Bronwyn and I have is to create a networking meeting, which is not really, like, we think of networking, we think like, oh, I'm going to go and sell myself to all these people in the room. But actually what we want is to create a collaboration
Mm,
where I know you, like you just said. So I know you and I know you're great at this. And so I'm going to say, oh, you have this thing, go talk to her. I have a friend who helps kids with anxiety, and she has a monthly meditation meeting. And when people call and say, my daughter has anxiety, I'm like, call my friend Camille,
yeah.
right? And people do that to me all the time. My husband was unfaithful, and so I'm going to come to Tara. Like, I know that she knows what that looks like and feels like. And so, like, these are the ones, like, you need to go there. Well, you need to go over there, and I think this is
Mm,
the one who has the tool for you,
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's definitely, um, interestingly, I was talking to someone recently about religion, actually, and I'm not particularly religious. It wasn't that kind of a conversation. God is obviously my thing, but I'm not, I wouldn't say in a religious sense. But I just, and I don't even know if this is true, but definitely the what was said makes sense to me. So this guy was talking, and he said that Christian religions are widely based on Catholicism, and he said that the basis of that is that it is better to be poor. Like, if you
Yeah.
are poor, then you're closer to God, and
Humble. Yeah.
this kind of stuff. And so it's like poor. And and he said that Jewish religions don't have that. Jewish religions, the base of a Jewish religion is that everybody has their thing to do, that God has chosen the people to do what it is, and your job is to do it really, really well and get really, really rich at what you do, but know what everybody else does and send somebody. And I really can see, you know, in that made so much sense to me. And I can see I did have a religious upbringing, and I can really see everybody just tries to do everything. And it's kind of like, yeah, I'm going to mend my fence and mow my lawn and clean my house and, you know, whatever, do my job, whatever. But it's like, I'm not going to go to somebody else who's good. I'm not going to get the best at who I am being and then go to somebody else for these other things. I'm going to do it all myself, and not get good at anything particularly, and not get, you know, rich in every sense of the word at who I am. And it was like, wow, yeah, I can really see. And so I can see the basis of my programming, if you like, you know, my conditioning has been, oh yeah, do not be rich, do not make money, that's not a good thing. And you know, we've always, like, I've really noticed that, yeah, that Jewish people are you know, obviously all of these are just generalizations, but generally you are like, yeah, they haven't got this block that we have to actually, to money,
They
to make
probably
money.
actually believe that God blesses them because they find their thing and that they
Yeah,
are the best of the service of that. And so,
yeah,
you know, they probably do believe that. Oh yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And I've really been shifting that belief lately. So I have an amazing guy who comes and weeds my flower beds, and my people are always like, your flower beds look so great. And I'm like, I know. And I love him so much. And I can work for an hour and, you know, doing something I love and be able to pay him and bless his family too. And I love that concept of, like, I don't have to do all the things anymore. You know,
yeah.
we grew up in Utah, so we have this pioneer spirit. Like, I can do it. I need to do it all, and I have to figure it out all, and I have to do da 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 da. And yeah, I'm trying really hard to break that. Like, I can just be the best at this, and I don't have to do all of the things
Yeah,
anymore.
and I really can see, yeah, that stay in your lane, be the best at what you are best at, show up as the best of that, and then yeah, get to a point where if you need these other things doing, you bless someone else with that. You do that, and it's just, it's so easy then for people to see who you are and send people. So yeah, very much getting to a point of, this is who I am, this is what I do, recognize me for this. It makes so much sense, doesn't it? And
And
then
the best thing,
collaboration.
yeah, exactly. And I realized this summer, if I call him more often, I pay him less money because it doesn't take him 5 hours to fill 2 trash cans full of all the things that he pulls out of my grass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just, you can see it all around the whole, yeah, collaboration, be good at what you're, you know, all of that. It just makes so much sense. And you can see that that is what raises the consciousness of the planet, when, and it absolutely starts with knowing, loving, and being who we were,
Right.
who we're meant to be.
And I love the name of your business, Dare to Be You, because it takes so much courage to do that. It takes so much courage to be you and to stand up in a, you know, world full of flowers and be the daisy, you know, like, it takes so
Yeah.
much courage to be yourself. So,
Definitely, when you haven't been doing that, you know, like, you know, it gets easier and easier, and I love it more and more being me. But definitely, you know, the reason my business is called Debs for You was, I know at the beginning when I, you know, took that look at myself and was honest, it was just like, I don't know who you are, and I don't know how to be Deborah. I don't know how to do that. And it's
yeah.
like, right, okay, that, and it did, it took work and it took courage, and it took a lot to do that. And now it feels so, I don't think I could not be me now.
Isn't that such a refreshing thing though? Because I feel the same way. It's really actually hard to go back and try and be the
Mm,
chameleon, honestly.
yeah, yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, Tara, I have really enjoyed our conversation. That has been amazing. Is there anything, you know, that you would like to share before we wrap this up? Is there anything coming to you?
No, I think I feel really complete. I've really loved, enjoyed this conversation. So thank you so much for
Me too.
making Yeah.
Me too.
I mean, if anybody wants to get a hold of me, I'm sure we can put a link to.
That's what that would my next question. If anyone wants to get hold of you, I mean, I know you're on Facebook, Tera Brown on Facebook, but we absolutely, yeah, if you send me some stuff, I will make sure that it goes under this video so that if people want
Perfect.
to reach out, and if anyone is struggling to reach out, please reach out to me and I can put you in touch with Tera, no problem at all. But yeah, it's been wonderful. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so
Thank you. I'm so honored to be one of your 60.
Yeah, it's really cool. No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.